What's going on, Professor?
Yeah, what's up there, brother and DJ? How y'all doing, man? How y'all doing? What up, what up, what up?
We doing pretty good tonight, man. We're gonna be talking about this Twitter blackout boycott, and we're gonna be talking about Jason Whitlock comments about black women and trying to blame them for what went on, with Tyree Nichols, and we're gonna also touch up a little bit on the what happened with the George Floyd Policing Act, how that just disappeared overnight as well too. So we want to go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and let a few of our people. I see Blood Pack is up in here as well too, Miss Brooke. Miss Brooke, we definitely want to have you come up here tonight and actually talk to everybody about the actual Twitter blackout that's going to be happening tomorrow. Will not be on the app. Will not be on the app. Will not be tweeting out any content tomorrow, y'all. Will not be holding any spaces. So we will be back Thursday. So we're gonna take a little break from Twitter, a little break from the WPIs and the white owned platforms. We're gonna sit back and just chill for a second, y'all. So let them go ahead and do what they do. Too bad we couldn't get millions of our people to go ahead and do that and really hit them where it hurt the most at. So we will not be on Twitter tomorrow night, y'all. No, tomorrow night or tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon or anything dealing with February 1st, we will not be here. So just to let you guys know that's why we want to have a nice Twitter space tonight, share some content, get our people to come in here, discuss what's going on. If you're in support of anybody by a show of hands, do you guys plan on boycott Twitter tomorrow? If by a show of hands, for anybody, put a hand up if you plan on being on the app. If you're not going to be on the app tomorrow, I know you got some people like I'm gonna be here. Hey, you gonna always have a black person. My pops told me one time before he like you always have a nigga someplace he got no. You always gonna find at least one nigga someplace he got no business having his black ass been. So take it for what it's worth, though. Take it for what it's worth, y'all.
Hey, them coons gonna be on here. You already know them coons gonna be on here. And, no matter how we tell them that they need to stay the fuck off, they gonna still come on here and want to fool around. So.
So is this for the brother that got killed? They're about to take it off for him?
The people just said they wanted to go ahead and they wanted to do a boycott on Twitter, and they like it. So I was like, well, hey, cool. If that y'all gonna do that as a sign of solidarity, I mean, I'll go ahead and I'll take the day off tomorrow. I won't come on here and put nothing out, no content or whatever. Since I won't be here, y'all make sure y'all go to Newstoter and check out the updates and stuff on the site as well too. So we won't be tweeting out to any white owned stuff. Will be going to social. No white owned social media sites where we be sharing content with tomorrow. So that's just how it is. If you ever seen CB4 and on that, and I don't know if any of y'all seen CB4 back in the day, funny movie with Chris Rock and Alan Payne, and when they was the little rap group when they got arrested that time, Alan Payne told the news reporters like, due to our arrest, we will not be having any interviews with the white media. So we won't be doing anything tomorrow, y'all. We're gonna chill. We're gonna relax, y'all. We're gonna let Boston run the show like they like to run the plantation. So Miss Brooke, how you doing tonight, sweetie? I want you definitely to go ahead. We'll go ahead and get this thing running. We'll go ahead and share. I want you to go ahead and just share with the people and let them know exactly what the idea behind the actual Twitter blackout is, how I got started. Just share with us any details. I'm gonna go also put that up in the jumbotron. So you get a chance. Y'all give me a second. I'm gonna go ahead and put that up in the jumbotron and a couple quick articles for the night too. So go ahead, Brooke, and just let us know exactly how you guys came about that and what's your whole goal behind it and what you plan on trying to accomplish.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, family, everybody, peace, love, and reparations. Brooke Sinclair, as well as known as Blood Pack. So the call to action for the day off of Twitter. Some people are doing 48 hours, and I love that. I love that. It came about because mysteriously over the past few weeks, a couple of different profiles, not a couple, a lot of people's profiles have suddenly been banned or temporarily blocked, or some sort of, I think Miss Giselle totally lost her account. She was able to fight and get it back. But a lot of different Black Americans have been mysteriously losing their accounts for things, for small infractions that aren't as bad as saying the N-word or, whatever else people are doing on here. I have seen full blown out transvestite homosexual sex. I've seen female ejaculation. I don't understand why we can't say, oh, what's up with people in Boston? I think they, like in that movie, I think that they purposefully went after those people in Boston to kill that one gentleman who had that invention. And I think, just like in that movie, they killed all those other people to cover up the fact that they killed him. But, I mean, I didn't say that because I'm not trying to get my profile. I did said it now. But anyway, the point is, our profiles, our rights to free speech, it's always take. We want more. You guys aren't perfect. And so since we are not perfect, we're going to show them how unperfect, quote unquote, we are. So we're going to do a flex. We're going to flex our power. And instead of trying to, go crazy with the boycotts, and do something majorly, that's hard to convince people to do, we thought, let's just take 24 hours and show Twitter what we're made of. So we've invited allies. We've invited, of course, Black Americans, all the different types of Black Americans, whatever you may identify as. This is for us. This is something that's that they're doing to all of us to take away our right to free speech. We have so few rights left, and what we do have, we should be able to use to our ability. So from 11:59 this evening, Blood Pack, we're going to log off or sign out or just not go into the app. If you, please be mindful of your own accounts. If you have password issues or whatever, then you may not need to go that far as to log all the way out. Just don't use the app for 24 hours, just for a little bit. Some people have taken it so far as to say all the white platforms. I'm down for that. I don't mind. I love that. And I love the fact that people are taking it from 24 hours to 48 hours. Somebody on LinkedIn, they said, you know what? I hate that platform anyway. I'm going to dedicate a week. And that's awesome. That they're willing to at least do something to show their presence being gone, rather, a lack of presence being felt. And so I thank you.
All right, Brooke, thank you. Thank you for just sharing that. And I want to just touch up real quick on the actual statement that you guys released. Of course, you allowed me to go ahead and put that on Newstoter as well too. So and that's one thing I don't do, guys. I don't, everything is curation. So very, very, very rare is ever any actual articles actually manually uploaded on there. So it's pretty much almost never. But let me go ahead and share this real quick and just read this with everybody up in the space. You don't mind, just give me 1 second. It's up in the Jumbotron. ABDL supports Twitter blockout after platform silences Black American voices. Again, like I said, you guys can catch this. You guys can see this in the actual Jumbotron. I am going to read it. Black Americans and allies are encouraged to refrain from using Twitter on February 1st. The Anti-Black Defamation League supports Black Americans reclaiming their heritage and legacy and will not use Twitter the entire first day of Black History Month. League members and their communities are also encouraged to stay away from Twitter on Wednesday, February 1st, 2023. The Black American community wants to start 2023 Black History Month by bringing popular social media platforms to their knees. Black American culture is a bedrock foundation of America. Was finally invited onto the platform, it was Black American culture, voices, and celebrities that increased another popular platform, Clubhouse, to its $1 billion valuation. Black voices make or break social media platforms and billions of dollars in marketing and advertisement on Twitter. In 2021, the platform reported $5.8 billion in total revenue from with 4.15 billion coming from advertisement. Don't look at Twitter for 24 hours as a simple request and a small personal sacrifice that could make a difference, said the founder of the Anti-Black Defamation League, Brooke Sinclair, who we have here tonight, about the call to action the first day of Black History Month. After buying Twitter for $44 billion, a study from Montclair State University showed an increase in hate speech on Twitter. Use of the N-word jumped 500%, in addition to spikes in the use of anti-Semitic, homophobic, transphobic, and other racist hate terms. Yet Black Americans tweeting out about the lack of updates on family in Boston coping with the brutal public murder and loss of relatives are restricted for 30 days without appeal. Even under co-founder Jack Dorsey's leadership, Twitter users could stumble into videos of homosexual intercourse and female ejaculation without meaning to. I'm confused about the platform's standards. Sounds like infringement on one's rights to free speech, Sinclair continued. Reparations is a good thing. It is morally correct and reflects basic property laws. Stolen or looted property should be returned to its rightful owners. The original owners of Black History Month are taking control of their legacy and their history. Black History Month originated and began to recognize the intellectual property and patents illegally ripped from the hands of their Black American creators. Light bulbs, traffic lights, mailboxes, toilet paper, ambulances, etc. Intellectual property was stolen from Black Americans who survived America's chattel slavery, not Africans, immigrants, LGBTQ, or Jews. Reparation is a human right by international law. It is an individual's prerogative to return to their. I'm sorry. Never mind. It's individuals' prerogative to return to their country. But when you discover you're native in a nation full of colonizers and immigrants, reclaiming your country starts with demanding respect for one's culture, beliefs, and the hurt caused to the community in the name of science and technology. That was repatriation. I'm sorry about that, y'all. America's greatest scam was convincing a nation of natives that they were from another continent. Today, the lie that all slaves came from Africa is a lie continually perpetuated by America's mainstream media, owned by Africans, immigrants, the LGBTQ, and Jews. The all slaves come from Africa lie is already America's third most profitable conspiracy in 2023, third after the unethical medical tests conducted on Henrietta Lacks and the secret syphilis test on Black Americans in Tuskegee. Repatriation is important to indigenous persons because it means returning ancestral rights and sacred inheritance to their communities of origin, creates healing, justice, and reconciliation. It means cultural objects and holidays belong to the cultures that created them, a crucial component of contemporary culture and political identity. The false idea that all slaves came from Africa is a story colonizers and mainstream media push so to deter public outrage as the public watches the government destroy an entire bloodline on the nightly news. If people with no land are mercilessly killed or silenced, that action should be socially acceptable and continue without guilt or remorse. Twitter banned or permanently suspended profiles of Black Americans accurately discussing domestic terrorism and genocide, and as a result, Black Americans are repatriating their voice, their culture, and inheritance. Okay, so this is what Brooke put out. This is her statement. This is what she put out. In terms of the actual Twitter boycott. Brooke, do you want to go ahead and add on to that? So you got your hand up.
I did. Thank you for reading that. About the repatriation, I realized that that's kind of a word that might be kind of new to some people. I was wondering if I could kind of explain it just a little bit.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So the idea with repatriation and us finding out that we have native indigenous ancestry really means that we can take over stolen lands. So lands that were ours, that were stolen, is the return of that land is a human right on an international level. And so when we hear about, reclassifications of how they've taken our names on several different back channel things where they took away Negro and we weren't completely aware of it, and everything that's happening, how do people feel like we're strong enough to take back the stolen land that we now know really is ours? Drop my mic.
That's a good question for the room to answer. By stolen land, you're talking about the entire planet, or you just talking about here in America? Because I mean, pretty much black people are indigenous to the entire planet.
Yeah, no, just right here in America. Yeah.
That's a good question. That's something that if we got any speakers in here that want to speak on that, that's kind of hard to say, Brooke. At this point in time, with us being a minority, just in terms of the actual numbers, don't get me wrong, we're definitely owed that. We definitely deserve that. We've had land stolen from us and never given back. We just saw the actual win that the black family with Bruce Beach, what they actually encountered. It took them almost 100 years to actually get back land that belonged in their family. And when they did get it back, unfortunately, they sold it. But and that story, sadly, is a story of millions of other black people in this in this country. There are millions of black people that share a similar story, that somebody in their family had a large amount of land and pretty much got swindled by the actual government here in this country. I can point back to my family. I know we had a space when we was talking about that. We had a couple other people who were saying that they actually had something similar happen to them as well too. So I definitely feel what you're saying. Now, I know one thing that may draw a little bit of ire from people will be the fact that you're saying that about the actual that it's a conspiracy, that that I guess is it about the slave trade? Basically, trying to say that because we always hear that X amount of black people were brought to this country and this and that. I've heard as low as something like 300,000 black people were brought over here to the America. So that's kind of I really can't know. I really don't really have the particulars on that. I know some people doubt that. Some people say it was more. Some people said it was less. But I know in the actual article that we just got through reading. So what's your opinion on that? That that's just fabricated. That there's no truth to that, or it's a much lower amount than what they claim, or.
I would say my best educated guess, I still, obviously, I believe that the slave trade happened. I don't doubt that, but I do doubt pretty much everything about the way the story otherwise goes now. Now that I completely understand how much the white man cheats and how deep and layered their lies are, I don't believe anything about the slave trade story. Like, I too don't believe it was as many. For so many of us in this present day to have native ancestral ties, it just, when you think about calculations number wise, and then we all end up being some sort of cousin, it just seems like maybe the slave trade wasn't what we think it was. Yeah, I land my plane on that.
One quick question, Brooke, because some people may say, well, why did you feel a need to add that part in the actual article? You may have some people saying, well, okay, I understand what you're saying, that our voices are pretty much silent on here. We say the wrong thing, we're getting banned, we're getting suspended. So I know you probably have some people in the space wondering, okay, like why would we feel a need to actually include the actual slave trade or this and that, as compared to just posting simple things about racism and just responding maybe to trolls and saying certain things where, like you saying, the actual videos and stuff that you've seen, the sexual content and sexual nature that other people don't get banned for that, but if a black person, and if you even sometimes tweet the word Negro, they were banning people and suspending their accounts and stuff. So some people may ask, why did you feel the need to actually add that when you were already doing a good point, just showing how how two-faced they were in terms of the treatment that black people were receiving on the actual app?
That is a great question, and I would say, why would our speech? I would answer a question with a question and say, why would our speech be so detrimental, but yet female ejaculation is not prohibited? It seems like the female, ejaculation in that part, that's something that a child should not be able to, or anybody who pushes a button and says that they're over 18 should not be able to have access to. I shouldn't be able to stumble onto, no offense to her, and I doubt she's in it, but T.S. Giselle having homosexual sex, and I'm sorry. But just that it was very abrupt, and I feel like if they can have homosexual sex, and we now are not supposed to hate on them, we're not supposed to shame them, then I'm going to be that same unshameful about the core reason about why you want us to be quiet. And the core reason why you want us to be quiet is because you just want us to just do what you want us to do, which is slavery.
I agree with you on that, and I will say this. I will add this also to I honestly believe the content in terms of what we're putting out here on Twitter algorithm is also being kind of shaded as well too. That where we're not appearing in the searches the way we should be. We're not being indexed or whatever with keywords or whatever you want to say on this actual app. I feel like our content is kind of being put to the back burner, and a lot of other things that's not really beneficial do appear. So like I told people the other day in the space, if I was to tweet just pure entertainment stuff, I would be seen to be in, because I know it for a fact, because Newstoter's been around going on 6 years. So at one time, all we did was tweet everything, and whether that was news, politics, education, entertainment, anything it was on the site, we would go ahead and tweet it out. Sometimes you're talking about 75 articles a day tweeting out, and it covered everything from celebrity gossip to politics to religion to you name it or whatever. But none of it got the actual kind of retweets and the kind of link backs to the site. People clicking on the links to the site. Then entertainment still outdoes all of the rest of it. So I definitely understand what you're saying. If we're trying to put out certain content, if it's considered empowering or anything like that with black folks as well too, it gets put on the back burner.
Wholeheartedly. And I'm sick of being silenced in any shape, form, or fashion. And it not only that, but just to have it's side story, but it's just they're adding more people who are telling us what to do, and we're grown, and let's start acting grown. So I land my plane.
Thank you, Brooke. I also want to, by a show of hands, anybody that plans on not being on the actual app tomorrow, go ahead and give us a hard sign. If you plan on not logging on to Twitter, not taking part, if you're in the space, just give us a hard sign just so we can kind of read and see who plans on doing that. I will have to say I don't see many heart signs right now either. Like I see a couple here and there, but a whole lot of our people like, I'll be here tomorrow. Y'all go ahead and take the day off, and we'll hold it down for you.
And maybe they're doing something on the other side of the app, or maybe they're listening on their laptop and they can't do an emoji. But hopefully in their hearts.
Right. Sure they are. Professor, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, what's up, brother? Hey, I tend to agree with Newstoter. I think a lot of our people gonna be in these spaces tomorrow, but hey, it's all good. It's whatever everybody wants to do. I was off the app for about a month, y'all, so I know my people can do it because I did it. And Newstoter will tell you I was off for about I think I left somewhere between the end of November and all the way came back in January, about mid-January I came back. So if I can do it, I know the family here can do it. I have faith in all of you. But I know some of you probably going to come up in here. Now, that's okay, though. We love you anyway. Blood Pack, definitely got to say peace and love to you, sister. I was glad that I joined the ABDL, by the way, family. Definitely go out there and sign up for the ABDL. The ABDL, y'all. This is like our ADL. Basically, we are the, what they want to call it, the kryptonite to those people that they call themselves the ass hats. Sorry, Newstoter, I hope they don't mess up the space, man. But anyway, but I want to definitely give a shout out to the family in here. Black Pressure, I see you out there, bro. Black Majority State right there. Tony, Sister Willa down there, Sister Val, Disruption, always disrupting. And Heavenly down there, I see you. But everybody, I just want to say we can do this. You can even go longer if you want to. I think we do need to at some point pull ourselves completely off this app and make our way over to social. I know DJ gonna put that plug in there, so I'm gonna land right here so he can do the plug.
DJ, you got it.
Nah, it's just my opinion on the boycott tomorrow, whatever the case be. We might as well just go and take the whole month off. Keep it real. Why do one day? You just do the whole month of February. It's other black sites we could be on. It's not like you're gonna be social media less. So why not take the time to go over to social.com, 6zeros.com. You can go to AfricanDiasporaNewsChannel.com. There's a bunch of other black stuff that we can be doing all Black History Month. So, instead of doing it just for one day, just go ahead and take the whole month off.
Okay, real talk.
Really break the algorithm, because once they see we ain't posting up there, you already know we running shit. So content, entertainment, news, it's all black shit around the internet. Without no black shit going on the internet boring as fuck, just like the world will be boring without black people. Black Americans specifically, though. But go ahead.
I mean, definitely. I think if we went ahead and it'd be interesting, like you said, to actually see how many people actually don't come on here tomorrow. I know if we could have maybe got somebody major with a huge platform that went ahead and champion this as well too, I think it would have got more push as well too. So until you can get that major figure to go ahead, because so many of our people they really take to the celebrity endorsements. You can say something till you blue in the face, but when an actual celebrity comes in there, or somebody they figure that's a major influencer, then that takes it to another level. Even though you could be saying the same thing that person's saying, but when they have that actual somebody has that status and they mention something, then it's like, okay, well, now I'll do it. So I think if you could have got a major influencer, a celebrity, say, you know what, we're gonna go ahead, somebody like even what's her name, Tanisha Arnold, if she was got on here and say, I'm going to take a day off from Twitter and this, we're going to do a black boycott, because she's pretty vocal for a celebrity. She would have said something like that. I think it really would have caught on with the people even more so. But that's not to say that we don't have people that won't do it now. And Brooke, I DM'd you early today because I saw DJ had sent me something where it was saying that it was canceled. That's why I checked up with you. I said, is the actual Twitter blackout supposed to be canceled? Because we got a DM saying that it was canceled. So I didn't know exactly. I said, well, I guess they must have canceled at the last minute.
Yeah, somebody else also asked and said, oh, somebody said it was canceled. And I was like, well, I don't know who said that. I would say that the original parties, the groups, is not really necessarily like one particular person. It was like literally, how the universe.
That was sabotage. And I see you, sabotager. That was sabotage. And we have that in our midst, apparently.
Yes, I think that, it was sabotage. And that's exactly what I said. I said, I think somebody's trying to keep us from unifying. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows who it could have been, but yeah, like I said, that's what I wasn't entirely sure. So I just said, hey, that's why I checked with you, because DJ he got received a DM saying that it was canceled, and I'm like, okay, well, I didn't hear anything. Brooke didn't say anything was canceled because she, I went ahead and put the actual statement on the site. So I would assume that she would have said, okay, told her it's canceled. We'll go ahead and we'll try something else or whatever. But like I said, I didn't hear that. I know earlier tonight also we had Concerned Blacknum. They had the Twitter blackout space as well too. So they were talking about it. So of course, had it been canceled, they wouldn't have had it as well too. So I don't know who came up with that, who said it was canceled. You have so many different factions on the actual app. So that's good to know that it wasn't canceled. So we're here. We're talking about it. People may partake in it. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. It is what it is. But, I know personally I won't be on here tomorrow. I'll come back Thursday, go back putting out the content Thursday, holding spaces Thursday. But Wednesday, February 1st, the first day of Black History Month, I'm not going to be on Twitter. And I'm not, if anybody wants to be on Twitter, that's a prerogative. I'm not going to down the person one way or another, but, I'm going to stand with solidarity with the people. They said this is what they want to do. So I'm going to ride with them on this here.
Hey, Newstoter, I was going to say, I know I received an email from is it Concerned Black American? Yeah, I think that was her. I received an email from her, so I knew it wasn't canceled because she was sending out emails to some of the family. So I don't know who was trying to sabotage, but then again, we got COINTEL up in this shit too. So, you have to be careful, y'all. You might have some FBI, CIA type folks up in here, non-FBAs in particular, that might be like, we're going to stop this Negro.
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much is. And unfortunately, like I said, you got so much division and stuff on here that you just don't know which side it came from. So fortunately, it's not. For our people that's not going to be on here tomorrow, thank you for going ahead and sticking with it. For those that do come on, hey, it is what it is. No harm, no foul, but we're going to go ahead and continue to push on this as well too. So Brooke, definitely I'm glad that you came up with this idea. Like DJ say, maybe it should have been longer, but there's always a future, and we can since we know that we're going to do this tomorrow, we can always plan ahead next time, map it out, and have everything. That's why it's so important to have the actual social media sites Black owned and have profiles. It doesn't take in most cases but 2-3 minutes to set up a profile, y'all. I mean, you come up with a username, a password, you have your actual avatar you load up, and that's it. You can go ahead and you can tighten it up later on, but I mean that's as much time as it takes to go ahead and set up an actual profile. Judge Sarah, go ahead and unmute your mic. We're also going to talk about this Jason Whitlock, the way he talked about Black women and blaming them, as well as what happened to the George Floyd Act.
You real quick, I just want to say, I just want you to know, I just left Concerned Citizens room, and Lloyd over there singing your praises, just to let you know. You're talking about creating the foundation and uplifting you. So I want you to know Lloyd over there fighting for you right now. And also what I talked about in that room is that I think it's a great idea for this blackout, and it's something that we might want to see to every first of the month, because we need to demonstrate our power in this country. It's time for us to establish power, and I think this is a great way to do so. So I'm gonna be cool today. I'm just gonna listen. Okay, thank you.
No problem. And we're going to get back. And y'all, I want to cover up the other topics as well. And anybody's free to come back to the actual blackout as well, too. I just want to go ahead and touch up on the on this situation with Jason Whitlock, sports commentator. Known, Tom. I mean, just Tom's up for the hell of it. He took an interesting shot at Black women. He's blaming Black women for Tyre Nichols being killed. This was published by Yahoo, curator, Newstoter.com platform. It's also up in the Jumbotron. I just want to touch up on it real quick. It says, social media rips Jason Whitlock for blaming Tyre Nichols' death on single Black women. I'm not going to touch up on the whole article. I just want to touch up on some of it just so you can hear how ridiculous and idiotic this man is. As the world continues to be overcome with emotions over the violent death of Tyre Nichols, many were left stunned by recent comments made on Fox News regarding the tragedy. On Friday, January 27, video clips of so-called journalists, and they're right, so-called journalist Jason Whitlock spewing hate for single black women during an interview with none other than Tucker Carlson began trending on social media. Holy shit. Tucker Carlson's guest just said the beating death of Tyree Nichols is what happened when you have young black men being supervised by a single black woman. He said this is what happens in cities run by single black mothers and blamed a lack of male authority. A shocked viewer tweeted. The post contained a portion of the interview where Whitlock used his platform to imply Nichols might still be alive if the supervisor of the Memphis Police Department wasn't some black woman in charge of the police force. This is hands down one of the most offensive 60 seconds of television I ever seen. I cannot believe what I just watched, the woman added. She was not alone in her sentiments. By Saturday, January 28th afternoon, Sierra joined the discussion. Jason Whitlock is a black man. To get on national TV and say something like this is irresponsible. A lot of amazing kids come from single mothers. For you to also undermine single women in the midst of this tragedy is so sad. The woman just lost her son. Do better, the Grammy Award-winning artist shared on Twitter. Actress Holly Robinson Peete agreed. Thank you, Sierra. What a self-loathing, cold, reckless, stereotypical, insensitive, clout-chasing untruth to spew in front of millions. Tyree called out for his mother and his life was taken away. Neither Tyree's mother or Memphis Police Chief Sherilyn C.J. Davis are a single mom, so why say that? But pathetic troll. One person wondered why Whitlock's aggressions only targeted women of color. White boys going to churches, supermarkets, schools, malls, nightclubs, and violently murder innocent people. Jason Whitlock never blamed white women for this. Another tweet shared a famous quote along with a personal take. The most disrespected person in America is a black woman. The most unprotected person in America is a black woman. The most neglected person in America is a black woman. Malcolm X. And oh, F you, Jason Whitlock. While many express their opinions, one user sums things up by saying, Dear Jason Whitlock, just shut the F up. You will never wake up white, and they only talk to you because you literally say the BS they want you to say, but can't. And you couldn't really sum that up any better than that last user said as well, too. If you've ever seen Jason Whitlock, he used to be on ESPN. He's been on Fox Sports. He's been on everything. He's always the type of black man that always throws the entire race under the bus. And to use his platform, as they said, to go ahead after a tragedy like this took place and blame, it was not single black women that went out there and killed him that night. So to sit up here and blame single black women, it was not the police chief's fault that you had these black guys go out there and murder Tyree Nichols. It was nobody's in the black community's fault that they went out there, except for the actual guys that went out there and actually perpetrated this crime. So to sit up there and sit up there with somebody like Tucker Carlson and spew this kind of nonsense because you think that it's going to keep you fed and clothed. Not that you're missing the meal by any stretch of the imagination, but it's going to keep you fed and clothed and keep you in the good graces of white America is irresponsible. It is just a destructive comment that you said. It shows so little respect for the black people in this country. And to single-handedly point out single black women, and you're going to sit up here and spew this with somebody like Tucker Carlson, and they're right, the user's right. He says this kind of stuff. White people want to say that. White people rejoice when that video, a lot of them, I'm not going to sit up here and say all white people, but a whole lot of white people rejoice because they were sitting up like, see, I told you, you sitting up here talking about how we're always killing you and this and that or whatever. Even your own kind killed him. So to sit up here and put this kind of crap out there in the universe, I mean, Jason Whitlock is just a Tom to the fullest. Ray and Professor, go ahead, Ray.
But that's what I got mistaken at. Jason Whitlock, he ain't our kind. So let's go ahead and make that distinction right there. I've said this before. Like I said, I'm poor brother Tariq, but there's no retirement plan for coons. They get these people, they put them out there to say all this outlandish stuff, and then after they say all this outlandish stuff, at the end they come back and they destroy their career. Because the way the white supremacists look at it, if he'll sell his own people, what the hell I want him in my house? And that's what they don't get. Again, there's no retirement plan for coons. I land there.
Yeah, and for somebody like Jason Whitlock, he doesn't need a retirement plan. He's a fool. He's an idiot to say the very least. Hold on real quick, Ray. I think Tony, she asked me, does Social have a phone app? Yes, Social does have a phone app, Tony. So yes, it does have a phone app. It's a part of the Mighty Network. So yes, it does have an actual it has an actual app as well for your phone as well too. Professor, go ahead and unmute your mic. And y'all, like I say, in Black women, this is directly, and I know a lot of our sisters in the space may be married or whatever, but this, whether you're married or not, this was a cheap shot at Black women in general. He tried to use a phrase, single Black women, single Black mothers, whatever garbage he wanted to say. But this was a shot at Black women. It's really a shot at Black people in general. Because had it been a Black man that was the head of the police department, he still would have found a way to go ahead and throw him under the bus as well too. So it was a shot at Black people. It was a shot at Black women, and it was a way of trying to get crumbs off the plate. Go ahead, Professor.
Well, Pillsbury Doughboy is at it again. That's all we can say on that. He always seems to throw a bunch of Pillsbury muffins out there to us. That's what he does. So are we really surprised by this? At one point, and I think y'all remember back during the time when they was going after Kyrie and Kanye, Jason Whitlock was, he was actually coming to these guys' aid, like he was actually on point. He was acting like he was all on code. And I was like, because Newstoter, I had mentioned it. I said, man, this dude, he actually out here, kind of sounding like he might be one of us. The way he was talking at that time. But as we see, Jason Whitlock went right back to what he normally does, and that is to sell out and coon. And by the way, folks, this is what white people will look to as people that would speak for the Black community. And this is what they would use as a way to say, well, see, we don't have to give them reparation because, see, this is what Jason Whitlock said. See, we don't need to get reparation because such and such over here said we should, that they shouldn't get it. Like, what's that other coon out there in California?
You talk about damn, what's his name? Used to be the judge, Larry Elder.
Yep. He said it on one of the radio shows out there when he was running for I think it was governor. And I remember they brought the topic up to him about reparation, and just what I figured he was going to do, he said they should give reparation to the damn white slave owners. Now, can y'all believe this nigga said? I'm sorry, y'all. Can y'all believe?
Well, they did though. If you go back and look, they actually did give reparations to white slave owners because they lost property. I'm using air quotes when I say that when slavery was over. That was already a thing.
Yep, exactly.
That's another level. Like Larry Elder, that's like a super goon. That dude, he spit in the mirror when he walked past type shit. He really a self-hating goon.
Yeah, and see, and these are the people that look like us. And I think Larry Elder is a Black American now, so we can't say he's one of those non-LBA ones. But I think he is also one of us.
You want to know what's crazy? I'm going to see if I can find it for y'all. There's an article that Larry Elder wrote back in, I want to say it was the early 90s. He was speaking out against Coretta Scott King and, calling the March on Washington. I believe he said it was irresponsible and all this other stuff. I'm going to find it. Yeah, he been on the cool train. We've been cool since the 90s.
Yes, he has, y'all.
Speaking of coons, Jason Whitlock, he just uploaded a new picture to social media. It's in the far left to the jumbotron. I want y'all to check it out.
Jason, I was afraid to retweet that one. It was a good one. I'm like, I don't know if I want to tweet that.
y'all know, unfortunately, we got too many of these folks that's gonna be speaking out against our reparations and anything else that we try to go and get. So unfortunately, we got too many of them in our community. But when they come with this type of coonery, just know we still got to bring the heat to some of our own. Some of them.
You know what you never hear though? You never hear them say that they'll give the money back. Have y'all ever noticed that?
That's true.
One of those things. It's easy for them to talk about because it's not here today. But if we got tomorrow, you don't hear none of the Negroes. I use Negroes instead of the word I wanted to use. Saying they would give the money back.
Exactly. Because if Jason gets this money, Jason gonna be right in there with us celebrating. And we're all
No, you better stay over there and get him some more butter biscuits. He can't come with us.
Cool once, you cool twice, shame on you. Nigga ain't gonna give me a third time, no way.
But anyway, fam, I'm gonna land my plane there.
Let me touch up on this last article, y'all, and this is about the actual George Floyd Policing Act. This is from Moguldom. It's also in the actual Jumbotron, curator on the Newstoter.com platform as well, too. Very, 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 very quick article. It says, why couldn't Biden and the Democrats pass the George Floyd Policing Act with the 2021 majority? The fatal police beating of Tyree Nichols, a 29-year-old unarmed black man, has left many wondering why George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2021 failed to get passed, even though the Democratic-led legislation faced a majority in the Senate at the time. The bill, named after police killing victim George Floyd, was approved by the Democratic-led House in March 2021, but it did not get enough votes in the Senate. President Joe Biden vowed to push through legislation on police reform while campaigning during the 2020 presidential elections, but the Senate Democrats stopped actively negotiating on the topic after talks failed in 2021, ABC News reported. The George Floyd bill was, according to experts, comprehensive. The bill aimed to ban certain police techniques, including no-knock warrants, chokeholds. Chokeholds apply pressure to the throat or windpipe and restrict the individual's ability to breathe. The bill also sought to improve police training and invest in community programs designed to improve policing and promote equitable new policies, NBC News reported. This bill increased accountability for law enforcement misconduct, restricted the use of certain policing practices, enhanced transparency and data collection, and would establish best practices and training requirements according to the U.S. Congress website. The bill called for a national registry, the National Police Misconduct Registry, to compile data on complaints and records of police misconduct and racial profiling. Meanwhile, lawmakers have invited the parents of Tyree Nichols to attend President Joe Biden's State of the Union address on February 7. Also at Tyree Nichols' funeral, I believe, Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be there in person as well too. And I also believe, of course, it's already known that Reverend Al Sharpton will be doing a eulogy as well. So just wanted to go ahead, and it's interesting to see that when they did have the actual House and the Senate, they still couldn't get this pushed through. Yet they were able to get bipartisan agreement on other bills. The anti-Asian hate bill was able to get bipartisan agreement. So even when you control in the Senate and the House, you still couldn't get the things passed, even though Joe Biden made a point and said that this was going to be a priority of his administration. Just wanted to share that with everybody in the space as well, too. I wanted to touch up on that. So we're free to go ahead and talk about the Twitter blackout. We're free to talk about Jason Whitlock, the George Floyd Policing Act, why it has not gone anywhere. Anybody that wants to speak, please go ahead. If you haven't spoke, go ahead and request the mic. We will definitely go ahead and give it to you. I'm interested to hear all the varying viewpoints on these three topics tonight. So if you haven't, please go ahead, check up in the Jumbotron as well too. There you will find the Newstoter newsletter as well as the YouTube channel. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to both of them. Go ahead and subscribe to both of them. I hadn't put out an actual newsletter in a couple of months, man. I keep saying it, but I need to go ahead. I'm still getting more people, man. I think it's like almost close to 1,200 subscribers. So need to get to like 10,000 subscribers, y'all. We need to get to 10,000 subscribers both on YouTube and in the newsletter, but the newsletter even more so because you actually have more control over your own newsletter. So go ahead and make sure you subscribe to the actual newsletter as well, people. Go ahead and subscribe to it. Also, support us on Cash App. That is $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black American, Black-owned news curation media platform today in America. That is $Newstoter. If you do not have a Cash App, you can support us on PayPal and Venmo. That is also in the Jumbotron as well too. So yeah, Kamala Harris, she's going to be at the funeral, at the young man's funeral. And of course, Al Sharpton, he'll be doing a eulogy. And the parents have been invited to the State of the Union address on February 7th. So That's very interesting. I wonder if the family's actually going to go. I that's their that's their son, so I don't want to say anything. It just seems at times that a lot of times when you have these black deaths like that, it gets politicized. It just it's always a case in point. And now Joe Biden, he's gonna use that platform. And what are you gonna talk about, man? You can't talk about police reform when you had a chance to actually conduct police reform. You can't use your State of the Union address and talk about how you're gonna knuckle down and how serious you're gonna get about reform and this and that or whatever. Outside of what is reform to the Democrats in terms of what the police department is, it just pumping billions or more into the actual police department? Because I really don't see what additional training and more funds has really been, helpful. So somebody help me out with that. Ray, you got it.
That's the whole thing. Is a giant finesse. They sell it to us as, we're gonna give them more. Basically, you're giving them more money not to be racist. That's pretty much what it boils down to. I don't know how much longer we're gonna keep on for that.
Yeah, I don't know how much either. I mean, like I said, this is like perfect. This is just the perfect little theater to go ahead and have his family up there for the State of the Union address. So now the family will be up there. This will be and even Republicans, when he starts saying stuff, when he starts talking about Tyree dying and stuff, even they begrudgingly have to get up and clap their hands and act like, oh yeah, well, we agree with this part right here too and stuff like that. Like, if you really want to go ahead and do reform, when you had the actual numbers in your hand, when you had the actual everything in your favor, you still couldn't get it done. You wouldn't get it done. So I mean, you gotta how hard when they came up with that Asian hate bill, it didn't take any time to get it passed. It didn't take any time. Everybody was on board. Bam. That's what it is. You got the George Floyd when the momentum, and that's why I say black people, we don't hold the defeat to the fire long enough. And this was a time just like in the 60s when you had the advantage with the civil rights and stuff like that, and you kind of cave into negotiations. The same thing here. You just wouldn't go ahead and continue to push and push and push. So now the excuse now is that, hey, well, we don't have the majority here and we can't do this. So what can we do? And you're not going to do anything because you don't want to do anything. You don't want to reform the police. The police are doing just exactly what they were always meant to do. You have no issue with the way the police is doing it. And when you have something horrific like this, anybody can get up here and say, oh, well, that's awful. But you really have no motivation to go ahead and make any change. Go ahead, Brooke.
Yeah, I thank you for mentioning the part about the Asian hate crime bill, because I'd like to further help expand our mind by saying, we were lynched repeatedly for fun for about 153 years or some odd, up and down different times. I didn't even know a hate crime bill could exist. Why was, if anybody was going to have a hate crime bill?
I thought it was called the Matrix or something.
I'm with you on this here, Brooke, and like I said, in that space I held Saturday, I actually mentioned as well too that they here in Florida that they're getting ready to do they already had it, but they're getting ready to add some certain things with this anti-Jewish bill, anti-Semitic bill, and they're talking about the actual incidence of anti-Semitism that's been on the rise here in the state of Florida, and it's just mind-boggling to hear these people sit up here. And then to see the CBC sit up here and not say a damn thing. When you can't sit up here and talk about hate crimes, man, when your people get more hate crimes committed against them than anybody else, you can't sit up here and talk about, oh, well, it's terrible. Yeah, it's terrible. And I don't condone you going out there doing any anti-Semitism. I don't condone you going out there doing any anti-Asian hate or anything, or anti-Latino or anti-LGBTQ or anti-any person. Any and everybody has a right to live their life the way they want to live it. But also, if you're going to sit up here and you're going to make these bills up for people like that, you can't ignore the fact. You love to quote statistics. You love to talk about this and that. But whenever the statistics are against you, then you don't want to talk about it. Well, the statistics read that black people are the ones that get the hate crimes committed against them more than any other group by far. It's not close. So if you can sit up here and you can make these bills up here And let's be for real, George Floyd, he died simply because he was a black man. Okay, he died at the hands of cops simply because he was a black man. So if you can sit up here and you can make up all this other stuff, all these bills, you can talk about how the rise of this and that is going against this. Like you always ignore it. Like you sit up here and I've done spaces before too. When I talked about, while you talking about the rise of hate against Asians, well, during the pandemic, you still had more anti-black hate crimes. The rise against it was still greater. So where is a response? Where is the legislation?
You know, oh, can I speak? Sorry.
Tammy, I'm gonna get right to you real quick. Let me go ahead and get the trouble, and then I'm gonna get to you, sister. Real quick, Brooke, did you want to say anything else before I went ahead and went to trouble?
No, sir. I apologize. Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, no problem, no problem. If you want to speak again, just go ahead and raise your hand. And this stuff right here is ridiculous. Go ahead, trouble. How you doing tonight?
Hey, y'all. Peace, love, reparations, and straight black power to the group. Hope everybody's doing well. To the host, to the co-host, to the black family up in the cut. I am So I'm looking at the George Floyd. I'll start with the listening act, and I'm gonna be 100% honest with y'all. I don't believe we're going to get a hate crime bill. We're not going to get a hate crime bill because that's the main way that America or immigrants have always shown that they are willing to assimilate is to hate on the American Negroes, the black folks up in here. You know, this whole country is anti-black and about being anti-black. It has been built on being anti-black. To take away their anti-blackness is to take away their Americanness. It's like being anti-American is to give us an anti-black bill. You're not American if you don't hate on us niggas. Negroes, sorry. Oops. You know, so it's hard for me in my mind. That's not to say that we shouldn't still be fighting for it, but that's just to speak to why it's so hard to get anything for us specifically as the Aboriginal, the natural, the native Negroes in this country, is because it's not meant for us to have in their eyes. They're always going to put everybody above us. I mean, the Jews, the Asians, everybody can get something, but we specifically can't because that takes away from them in their minds. At least that's my thought process, and I might be wrong, but from what I've been seeing from this country, it really doesn't feel like it. It feels like everybody gets these set aside, you know, while they continue to kick dust at us, and they use these proxy blacks, which are blacks that come from other nations, to say, hey, we gave y'all something. We've been giving black people stuff, just not y'all mother, you know. And we're supposed to be accepting of that because nobody besides us is paying attention to the fact that the blacks that actually get things and get things done are blacks from other nations. Nobody is paying attention that you have to be part of some segue group like LBGT in order to have something affirmed for yourself. If you're black and part of the LBGT, you might benefit something that direction. If you happen to be black and maybe can segue yourself into a little bit of Jewishness or Asianness, you know, you might be able to get yourself a little something on that end, you know. But as a collective, as a whole, now they're kicking rocks at us, always have, you know. But we can't mobilize the other original, so-called original Americans in this country to see that. You know, we're going to have to start making the point that, you know, what affects Black America is going to affect the lower echelon of white America too, especially when it comes to this immigration and all of the money set aside and stuff in order for them to really get it. But are they going to get it because they're so beast-like in nature and thought process? They're so savage-like. Their level, their moral capacity doesn't exist like. So I don't know, but we should brainstorm on that a little bit, maybe. But as far as Jason Whitlock
coon of the year. You know, Jason really isn't saying anything that hasn't been said ad nauseum before. And I'm sorry, my brothers, but I hate to say it, but a lot of our brothers gave Jason the steam that he needs to be able to go online, to go public and be validated in the things that he says, especially in white America. We have the Tucker Carlson, we have not the Tucker Carlson, we got the Jason Whitlocks, the elder, whatever you have used, the the Pattersons, Tim Pattersons. We got all of these different, you know, pluckers out here that, you know, make their voices real loud, that kind of talk that Reagan talk, that welfare queen talk when it comes to Black America and specifically Black women in America. We have to live and deal with these tropes all the time. And me personally, I've seen it and felt it, not so much from the Jason Whitlocks of the world. I expect that from them. But I see it online with my brothers all the time. Anytime something goes wrong in the Black community, guess who get blamed? The Black woman. This starts at home. It starts with our community. It starts with the brothers in our community shutting this narrative down and getting that out of their mind. And stop pushing that narrative themselves. It ain't just the Jason Whitlocks. When he said it, I was like, oh shit. It ain't like my brothers ain't saying it too. If you ain't specifically saying it, it ain't like you feeling it, and it ain't like I can't feel that you feel that way out of some of the things that some of y'all say. It's a lot of anti-Black womanness coming on, and I don't think a lot of y'all realize when y'all be talking, I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention to what's not being said, but it's being said. Black women are always the problem. Whenever things go wrong in our community, we always get the blame. We get the blame for being a single ass mama, as if it didn't take dick to hit pussy to make the baby, as if the man wasn't nowhere around, as if the man didn't have the choice to stay a goddamn go. But it's the single mama fault. It ain't the single man. Because see, it's a single mom. It's a single mama.
You breaking up, Trouble.
Yeah, it said something.
Yeah, you breaking up there.
Probably not a bad thing.
I kind of knew this is go kind of like this may go left a little bit.
I know I'm shocked to hear that from Trump.
This may go a little left here. It may go a little left. We're gonna keep it from going left though. We're gonna keep it from going left, y'all. Because we got hold on real quick, Tammy. Hold on real quick, y'all. We're gonna keep it from going left because for every Jason Whitlock and Larry Elders, for all of the ones that do down Black women, we have the Black feminists out there as well too. We have the Cynthia G's, and we got a bunch of them in Hollywood and stuff, and everything that, you know, every climb that Black people made, Black men have basically haven't had contributed any to it as well. So it's just all of a sudden the little bit of shitty rights we have in this country just came out of the sky. So we ain't gonna go left, y'all. We ain't gonna go left. I know that kind of like hit a few. They kind of hit a few little spots there, so we ain't gonna go left, y'all. We talking about Jason Whitlock, who is a turd. Jason Whitlock has as much vitriol for Black women as he does for Black men. Okay, Jason Whitlock thinks that every Black man in here is lazy and a dope dealer and makes excuses and has no work ethic and everything else. I've been seeing Jason Whitlock for over 15 years when he was on ESPN and stuff. So trust me, Jason Whitlock is not a friend of Black men as well too. So I'm just gonna go there, Trouble. I'm gonna go ahead and let you land that real quick, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pass it to Tammy. Then we're gonna get to you, Black Native.
Well, I wasn't trying to make it go left, but sometimes you got to interject that truth, and that's my truth. My truth is Jason isn't the only one, and sometimes when it's coming from the community, it helps brothers like Jason or brother-ish like Jason be able to push their narrative. But the narrative that you never hear is you never hear any other race of man put this on their women. You don't hear the white man on TV talking about white women when you have all of these school shooters. When you just seeing all of these Asians mass murdering each other, there wasn't Asian people tripping over themselves to go out and talk about how Asian women need to get it together. You know, when Hispanics be doing bullshit, you don't see Hispanics running out here, you know, tripping up over themselves, talking about, you know, what they women need to get it together. But they always find the cluckers in our clan to go out there, and it feels like a conspiracy against the black family all the time. So I don't mean to make some of y'all brothers feel some ways to be like, oh, well, I wasn't expecting that. Look, I'm well-rounded when it comes to shooting that shit. And I just recognize that sometimes we got people that can push these narratives so easily because we spew them ourselves. And so we got to get ourselves and our community to a different place so we can stop having this from these other cats to be able to run on the media. And then we got to shut them down. But it's hard to shut them down when after I see Jason Whitlock saying it, I see a bunch of brothers in my news feed that's co-signing him. So that's really all I'm saying.
Okay, real quick, Trouble, because I gotta interject. Hold on, because you got a bunch of brothers on here that's shutting that down right away. What Jason Whitlock saying? No, hold on. Let me say, because Jason Whitlock. Let's just make this clear. Jason Whitlock thing is to go ahead and to appeal to white people. Jason Whitlock, I said that before. He has run black people down for years. Black people, not black women, black people. He's run more black men down than he's ever run black women down. Okay. Anybody on here that knows Jason Whitlock, that follows sports, knows that Jason Whitlock's number one target has been black men. He gave some to black women. But let's just be clear here. Jason Whitlock thing is to, like Charles Barkley, like so many other black men that think they've made it, their goal is to go ahead and cuddle up the white people as much as they can. So I just want to go ahead and say that. I'm going to go ahead and kick it to Tammy.
All right, and I'll land my plane on the fact that we're not talking about Jason Whitlock and how he come for black men. We're talking about Jason Whitlock and how he come for black women. And until we can start addressing the subject and the elephants in the room, we're going to always have these Jason Whitlocks and everybody else speaking about black women in a negative light. And I'll land my plane on that. Well,
I'm going to again, and before you land your plane, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull mine up real quick and say too, yeah, he was talking about black women on this right here. You're right. I made a point to talk about it. But before he started talking about black women, he's been going in on black men for the longest. And this Negro makes his money from covering black men as well, too, following sports and stuff like that. So he's sitting up here at one hand, he makes his money completely off of black men and their sports and their skills and everything else on the football field and the basketball court and everything else. At the same time, he's kissing white ass, throwing them under the bus. So I'm going to go ahead and say that too. Like, I get what you're saying, but like I say, you got Vivica Fox, you got Cynthia G, you got a whole bunch of black women on YouTube, here on Twitter and everything else that throw black men under the ground, talk about black men ain't nothing but baby makers and this and that.
That's a problem right there.
Okay.
We're talking about one cat and we got to talk about the women doing it too. Is that whataboutism? We can't get nowhere when we doing that whataboutism. What about Cynthia G? We talk about Jason Whitlock.
And I know we talking about him, Trouble, and we sitting up here, and I'm also giving you this man's background, letting you know that, yeah, this man, he has run down black people all together. I'm saying that he's run down more black men than he's ever run down black women. So I'm saying, here's the thing. I'm saying you sitting up here and you're saying that black men this and black men dog women and black men do this and do that. But I'm saying there's a whole list of black women out there that dog and run down black men as well, too. So I didn't make this space to make this into no man versus woman. I put Jason Whitlock's name up there because I consider Jason Whitlock to be a piece of you know what, and we was addressing Jason Whitlock. So I get that you upset. I feel you on that. Jason Whitlock has pissed me off at times and stuff like that. Jason Whitlock pissed me off when he had your boy Kid from Kid and Play up there, dressed up like Colin Kaepernick with the Black Power fist up there selling out. And he's pissed me off a lot of times with the things that he's done, the little skits he's made about black men in general. So I feel your frustration. Let me go ahead and just move on to the next speaker. But if you want to come back and speak, that's fine. Tammy, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Family, everybody count to 10. Please.
10.
Okay, I'm not feeling it well tonight, but what I want to say first, I think until we, black women and black men, are able to come together and let us express how we feel while letting you all express how you feel, we need to have that conversation. But anyway, Jason Whitlock, I just couldn't, I just don't understand him and the Petersons and the sheriff, and I just don't understand how they throw black women under the bus like that. And if white people critically thought about it, it makes no sense. Black women have no power. We have no control, but we are always thrown under the bus while asking us to come in and be who we say we are going to be. And we show up and be that person every time without hesitation, without accolades, without any type of, thank you or you did good. We continuously are unprotected. And I think what Trouble's trying to say is sometimes we just want to feel love without saying that we're acting like feminists. That word bothers me so bad, y'all, when I'm called a feminist, because I'm not. I love black men. I want to marry a black man. I want to have a family with a black man. But black men have got to understand we had no power or control on being single mothers, just like, and support us in that. We didn't take you out of the household, but we are often, I feel like we're often blamed for it. The George Floyd policing act, let's just say Congress is not doing their job, and we all already know that. But sometimes I feel like we dismiss and minimize James Byrd and the hate crime bill that he shared with Matthew Shepard. And maybe that's because Matthew Shepard is kind of like the lead on it, and it's talking about, just that part of the bill first, and then it brings in race with a whole lot of other stuff. But it feels like, James Byrd did have an experience, and his name is on a hate crime bill. So let's just remember that. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, his name is on a hate crime bill along with Matthew Shepard as well too, Tammy. But and that hate crime bill isn't specifically for black people like the one for the Asians. So I get what you're saying on that point there too. But I'm saying that you're having certain groups getting specific things solely for them. But if a black person, tries to get something for them, then it's a problem. It's a situation. We can't just do this for y'all. We can't sign it just for, it would be unfair to everybody else. You hear that kind of stuff. So I get what you're saying, James Byrd, but James Byrd also, because of Matthew Shepard, that's why their name is synonymous and put on there together. So I definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I understand, but he that was a horrible crime too. So I'm just saying, making sure everybody's mindful that there is a hate crime bill with his name on it.
Yeah, we're not saying that it's not a hate. It's a difference with having a black person's name on it and it being for black people. And that's my thing. That like, yeah, his name is on there with Matthew Shepard. I'm saying that there's certain things for LGBTQ. There's certain things for Jewish community. There's certain things for Asians and everybody else. But when it comes to black people, it's a problem. It has to be everybody. So there's no bill in this country that's specifically set aside just for black people.
I just want everybody to read it and not feel like he went through what he went through as well, and not minimize, the crime that was committed that drug him down the highway on the back of a pickup truck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember it happened in 98, 99. I remember it. I remember when it made national news. I remember that. But I'm just saying that, yeah, I'm saying that there is no specific bill targeting, what black people in this country go through. That's pretty much all I'm saying.
Is the Civil Rights Act include any of that? The civil rights? Is there any language in it?
There's nothing in the civil rights that is specifically for black people.
No, Tammy, nothing is in this country specifically for us. And we are talking about we want to get legislation in this country that specifically helps black American freedmen, ADOS, Negro, whatever you want to call your damn self. We want legislation on the books that help our people only without tagging in all these other damn groups. This is what we're so sick of. And as we talk about this George Floyd policing act, see, this should have been already passed. See, this was one of the things that I believe old Joe Crow ran on, which is one of the reasons why black Americans went out to the polls and voted for him, because he talked about this particular issue. But see, where is it at? See, we don't have it. So, and I'm sorry, Tammy, I don't mean to sound like I'm angry, but I am mad because we don't have any protection on the book specifically for our people. And that's what we got to be worried about right there.
All right, let's go ahead and Black Native. How you doing tonight? Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, good evening, Newstoter and Ray and DJ and Professor and the judge and no taxation and to everybody, peace and reparations. I just want to speak on Jason Whitlock butter biscuit juice still dripping down his chin. This man has been very problematic for about 15 years. And I want to know, because it's not just him, it's Stephen A. Smith. I feel Shannon Sharp is another one. And the African dude from Nigeria who wants to speak for Black Americans. I think he's on ESPN as well. All of these different Sambos who work for ESPN and Fox Sports and all these different outlets, which are pretty much doing news on predominantly Black athletes, basketball, football. Those are the main, maybe boxing or whatever. Why? Where are all the alpha males? Why have they been allowed to continue to downgrade, put down, speak for, like they're the microphone for all Black men? And then I remember, because me and Professor had the conversation, I was asking him about, did he see what what Jason Whitlock said about the murder of the brother, and how somehow he correlated the 5 officers more. Well, now they found like seven or 8 more that they were trying to hide, who were white, the other 2. But the 5 officers that they displayed, and we all saw it. How did them killing this other Black man? How did that correlate? How did he put Black women into that equation?
Right.
And so I don't understand how he was able to manipulate it and do it. And I see what Trouble is saying, but we're not ready to have that conversation. We don't want that conversation. And I feel like you give women a chance to speak, but when we truly want to tell you, I'm not a feminist, I can't stand fucking feminists. But when we speak about certain issues that are happening in our community, we kind of get shut down. I think she left the room, and that's sad that it happened like that. But we need to have that conversation. Let's speak about the George Floyd Act. The sister spoke about what was the man they dragged down and his head fell off in Texas?
Bird.
Okay. See, the thing is, it's named for him, but it's not specifically for Black Americans, and that's been an issue. I mean, E.T. could come down. I say this all the time, from a damn spaceship. Him and his people could come and get off that spaceship and probably get more a hate crime bill or more legislation than we get right now. Any and everybody, and it's based off of anti-blackness. They have to see when they look at us, we remind them of their past, and we remind them of their guilt, and they hate it, and they hate us, and you have to understand that. So of course they'll give Asian people, because remember, the Asians are the model minority. Remember, they're smarter than us. They know math. They're good people, but we just seen what happened. Around 18 Asians, this was murdered by their own people. They run sex traffic. They run sex trafficking shops, prostitution rings, gambling rings. They do all of that. They very well into what you call an undercover crime, but they keep to themselves. But after they pay the cops off, so we all know they committing all these atrocious acts out here. But this is who they pushed out as the model minority citizen. So then you got the Jewish community who classify themselves, because they're trying to say they're not Europeans. So they're trying to say that to be a Jew is a race. Now remember, they said that they can't give us anything based off of race. We have to come out with a lineage, or we have to come with it as a statistic. We have to have a status. But the Jewish people are claiming that is their race. So boom, there we go. You know what I'm saying? But this is the games they got us jumping through hoops for things that they know they owe us. They understand that we are the ones that every fucking time, excuse my French, every time you turn on the television, you got a black family out there standing with Ben Crump on the side, Al Sharpton on the other, talking about how their child or their loved one was murdered. How we see it every day, all day. We got the Karens running wild, rolling up on people, asking for their papers like they still slaves. They understand, because they are the ones that are perpetuating what is happening to us, and they've been gaslighting us for damn near 400 plus years. And so now they see we're not backing off from reparations. They thought, hey, because they figure like black people, our attention span is very short. We get distracted easy. So they see this right here, we're not letting go of this. And so now they're coming up with all this. Way we don't know what you are. We're kind of confused. Who are you? We was niggers. We was colored. We was African Americans. We was Black Americans. We was all the same people that you know who the hell we are. But now it's this game. So now we're on social media fighting on what we need to be called, because white people are playing the game with us, because we can't just come out and specifically be race based when everybody else is. So I just want to say that hopefully, I don't know what the family is going to do. They're going to prop the family up like they do all the other black families of police violence. They're going to prop them up, put them up there, put a microphone out sharp. They're going to make his same tired ass fucking speech that he's been saying for the past 20 something years. And I used to march with Al Sharpton. I was there when they had the riots in Crown Heights. I was going to the Howard Beach. I was going to the trials. I was there when they killed Yusuf Hawkins. I was young. I was marching. So I've been doing this for a long time. It's now that I believe and I pray and I hope that we are going to get what is deserved of us. And our ancestors will finally be, I don't know how to say it, justice. Justice will finally come, even though that, the money, and the land, but you can never pay back all the shit you did, but it's something. And I pray that we don't stop what we're doing. We might not get the George Floyd Police Act. I'm not surprised if we don't get it, but you know what? We're going to still fight for our reparations, and that's all that matters right now to me. And I'm going to land my plane. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Alrighty. Thank you, Black Native. Let me go ahead. Ray, I know you had your hand up, and then we'll get to Rella, Stephanie, and Mel.
Yeah, I can go ahead, man. I was when we were talking about Cynthia G, I was just gonna tell y'all to post in the jumbotron a space that she did that was called "If Aborting Black Males Isn't an Issue, What Is." So that should tell you her mindset, how anti-black man she is. I was gonna touch on that Matthew Shepard thing too. because he's also tied in with that brother James Bird, I believe, that got drugged to death. But I've heard for years, just rumors that wasn't even had nothing to do with his sexuality. I heard it was a drug deal that went bad. Actually, one of the people that's convicted of was convicted of murdering him was, it was, getting down or whatever. Like I said, this is just all rumors that I've heard over the years. But while we were talking about this, see if any of the family had heard any of that too.
Okay, real quick, let me give a shout out to Michelle for her contribution on Cash App tonight. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, what's up?
How are you guys doing? Y'all done ran trouble out of here.
We didn't we didn't run trouble anywhere. We just had we just agreed to disagree on a certain issue.
I told everybody to count to 10 now. That's what I did.
Trust me, my 10 is normally a 20, so my 10 is actually something that's really good. I will say this is Jason Whitlock is definitely every morning I wake up and I always ask God, is today the day that your good and unfaithful servant return home to you? I did that, I ask God a lot by a lot of people. Every morning I'm reminded that it's not his time. But I will say this, there are a lot of people who have a lot of opinions about what women should be doing, what men should be doing. And those specific people are those specific people. They don't represent everybody. Now, do they say things that men or women might agree with or align with or find themselves questioning, I understand their point and I see what they're saying. Yeah. But do they represent individuals who have relationships with each other? I don't think so. And I think it's very scary when we are asked to be held accountable for something that someone does. But when we have the discussion about the things that they say, everybody gets up in arms because of their guilt of feeling or agreeing with what they're saying. Cynthia G is, she's going to be who she is. I don't think all Black women, or Black American women, I should say, agree with her. But I do think that a lot of Black women who do follow her agree with some of the points, because the people that she actually puts up in her shows and that she actually holds a magnifying glass to, and that she brings onto her videos, those men, she paints the picture of things that they've done. I don't think that that's a representation of any of you guys in here, unless someone in here sees themselves in those men that she actually talks about. And I had to take this understanding, because as I always go back and forth with DJ about Kevin Samuels, I understand why men literally needed someone to vocalize the parts of them that they always kept saying that they felt like they couldn't talk about. Which is why when we start talking about Black men who practice degeneracy, Cynthia G's name always comes up. And it's always coming up from men, which tells me more men watch her than Black women. And Black women watched Kevin Samuels more than Black men did. And so I really need us to understand, if we really want to solve these gender concerns, I won't say wars, but these gender concerns, you need to be honest about the discussion. And don't get defensive. Now, DJ, I'm very passionate and I love you. And I will say that, what my stance is on Kevin Samuels. You understood him more than I did because you watched him. I literally just started picking up on the last bit of things that he left before his transition. And that was the part of him that I wish people would have gotten to see, not the parts of him that actually were, in my opinion, destroying Black women in the beginning. just to get famous. So I'll move on from that. Now, the George Floyd Policing Act, Newstoter, can you just kind of give me a little bit what you guys were talking about that? What was going on with that?
Simple fact that when the Democrats had the majority in the House and Senate, they didn't go ahead and pass it.
Yeah, that's the part. That's the point of not having representation and voting blue no matter who. I think we've covered that in many of spaces. If people don't decide to get into the habit of crashing the boards in the this tyrannical system that we live in, unfortunately, we're always going to be in here challenging the civil rights bills or any bills that get passed, or the lynching bill that was actually put up by two people who are actually descendants of immigrants. Excuse me, all disrespect. They actually had no language in the bill. And that is the problem when we say that we have Black faces in high places. They actually do not represent us in language. The other thing is, I heard the civil rights bills didn't do nothing for us. And I think, Professor, you said it a little bit more colorfully than I did. But I'm going to definitely stand with my torch in my hand. And I posted a link, Newstoter, and I hope everybody goes to see it. There were several civil rights bills that were passed, along with the constitutional bills that were passed. I want you all to read them thoroughly and read what they say. The reason why we do not see what it is that we are asking for and that our bodies are not protected is because we never had representation to actually push the bills that are already in Congress, on both the Supreme Court, when you have the House and the Senate, that's considered one Supreme Court, and of course then you have the higher Supreme Court, which is one of the branches of government. Y'all all know that. But when you look at these people and you look at the deals that are being made between all these people, if you do not see any representation in language of what we are talking about, that means we're not in those positions, and we need to be, because the bills are there. Civil rights bills were actually fought on the backs of our ancestors, and I, for one, am not going to let anyone disrespect them any kind of way because you don't understand how to keep the language proper. We have civil rights bills, several of them, and they're waiting for someone to push them into action, to make them actually activated. We are not getting that. What we have are people who are doing a lot of great work, and shout out to Black, Native, and everybody else doing reparations work, even myself, but we are not actually in the lens, laser focus, to be like, how the hell are we going to get these bills actually activated if we are not being represented? Why? Because you don't show up at county meetings. You don't show up at referendum meetings. You don't show up in places that you were not taught to do it because our people were too busy trying to work and survive. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself the opportunity to learn something new and spread that. Don't self-destruct. This is not the time. And I'll land my plane. Peace, y'all.
All right. Thank you, Rella. Let's go to Stephanie. Stephanie, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having this space. First off, I want to say that we are approaching the 1-year anniversary of the death of Amir Locke. May he rest in eternal heaven. And let's just keep him in our memory and in our hearts and still fight for this young man. Secondly, with Jason, whatever his last name is, I forgot. It's all a distraction, okay? He, and just like many others who think just like him, both male or female, are just nothing but flies in a bowl of milk, if you know what I mean by that. And we cannot allow ourselves to be distracted by anything. This is all a ruse to keep us divided as Black men and Black women in this country. Okay, the power is in our Black dollars. We spend trillions of dollars every year contributing to an economy that keeps us oppressed. And it's been keeping us oppressed for the past 500 years. Okay, well, 400 plus. And we cannot allow ourselves to be distracted by the system. Okay, as far as the police is concerned, they, they got qualified immunity, but their insurance policies don't. Okay, I say we start going after those insurance policies, start going after those pensions, and I can guarantee you these insurance companies will be going to Capitol Hill and crying about policies about what to do with these police officers, because enough is enough of them. And if we can't get to the police officer himself, guess what? His wife doesn't have qualified immunity. His partner, whoever they are, don't have qualified immunity. So if I can't get to you, officer, I'm going to go after your husband, your wife, or your husband. And this is how we have to start thinking. We have to start going after their insurance policies. We're going to have to start going after anybody that's related to that person, that supports that person. If we can find laws to get around. And I'll land right there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Ray, I know you had your hand up earlier, but I guess you went ahead and you already spoke on that as well too. You was talking about that space we did with Cynthia G. I forgot about that a while ago. Yeah, we had that space a few months back. DJ, what's going on? You up in the space? One of the DJ, because I don't know. I wonder.
I'm up there, brothers and sisters. I'm just listening to y'all talk. That's all.
Okay. And Black Pressure, I know you came back up here. Did you want to say something tonight, Pressure? Because I know you were in here for a second and you left. Then I saw you come back. You requested to speak, so I didn't know if you wanted to add anything to the discussion so far. Or...
Just to, it's not going to be long, kind of with DJ tonight. Just to reiterate that I'm still really shocked about Trouble's narratives. Now, you could tell she's hurt. That's obvious. That's fine. We've all been there. But that ambush shit she did, that was sucker shit. That really was. That like, for real. And I have no problem with the sister at all. Never have. Obviously, news, this is, and, kudos to you. You definitely give spaces where people can talk uninterrupted, talk about whatever they want. Something was bothering her, and this just was the perfect place for us to pour out our heart. But that ambush tactic shit, that sucker shit. And I'll just land my plane and listen right there.
All right. I didn't think about it, but I know Trouble is going through a lot as well too. So pray for her family. She lost her nephew. So, she is going through a lot as well too. So let's kind of remember that I did not intend for the discussion to, turn that way. We're talking about Jason Whitlock. I mean, nobody in here, no black man in here supports Jason Whitlock. I mean, we just being real here. We've been knowing who Jason Whitlock is before 99% of the actual women in this space knew who Jason Whitlock is. Jason Whitlock has made a career of attacking black people, preferably black men, to suit his own agenda, to cozy up the white folks. He has always used black men as a ladder to climb his way to success. So, that's our thing right here. When I heard about Jason Whitlock, I wanted to go ahead and address this conversation tonight because in no way, shape, or form did we support that. I support what he said. I thought what he said was dangerous, to be real.
Hey, in news, just real quick news, not only do black men not support Jason Whitlock, every black man that I've known, we think he's an outright joke. It's not. Literally everybody laughs at the dude that I know. He's the butt of every coon joke you can tell.
Yeah, I mean they have no respect for him.
She wasn't saying that you all agree with him or support him. She was saying that sometimes when we hear feminists or when we're trying to express how we feel, it's shut down with that word, or it's shut down that we can't get out how we really feel. She wasn't saying that you all support Jason Whitlock in any way. And
what I heard too.
Well, she did say that, Tammy, that a lot of black men supported, and she was talking about the comments afterwards.
And we say what he say. And
I was just trying to. And I was just trying to let her know that, yeah, the black people, the no black people that I know, no black men that I know supported that. Real quick, Tammy, no black men that I know would sit up here and support that a black man who lost his life at the hand of other black men, just being up that's supposed to be law enforcement officers up here paid to protect and serve off of the taxpayer dollar. No black person that I know, sat up here and said, and blame black women for that. If anybody got to blame for it was those 4-5 black men that took his life that night. No black person, no black man that I know would sit up here and say, you know what, if it wasn't for had he had a black woman, this thing that this man sat up here and said was white supremacy in a black face. That's what it was. He said that on Fox News with Tucker Carlson to appeal to white folks. And he's always done. He used black people as a proxy to do it. This time it was black women.
Newstoter, so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. I'm gonna ask this for you and Black Pressure too. So do you guys think that she was talking about you, or she was talking about the people down at Jason Whitlock's thread, his Twitter feed?
I think she was talking. I think she was talking about a lot of black men in general. That's what I think she was talking. Whether it was a real quick, Rella. Real quick, I'm gonna let you get it real quick. I think she was talking, and she said it. She didn't just say the black men in the thread. I think she was talking about a lot of black men in general that use black women as a reason, because she talked about being single mothers and this and that or whatever that, and I get what she's saying. And I'm not saying everything I disagree with what she said, but at the same time, we don't want to go ahead and stereotype or generalize black women, but at the same time, black men don't want to be stereotyped and generalized for the dude that's out there on the corner doing nothing with their lives.
Let's suss that out right there, because that is literally what I heard, and I know that's what other people heard, and I can't say what Black Pressure heard, because he literally just said what he heard was she's talking about me. I'm included in that statement that she made, and you're also confirming that she's talking about you in that statement that she made. So then let me ask you this question. When you came back and rebutted and said, yes, but Cynthia G has X, Y, and Z happening, do you think that Cynthia G is all black women?
We never said that, but I'm saying hold on, Rella. I'm saying the same way she can, the same way she used Jason Whitlock as an example, I use Cynthia G as an example. So no. I
understand. So walk with me. Hold on.
I'm walking with you, but Hold on, Rella. Hold on. I'm gonna walk with you, but I'm gonna step a little bit faster as well, too. Go ahead.
All right, that's cool. All I'm saying is when you make those type of statements, just like she made the statement about Jason Whitlock and trying to get her point off that there are men, and maybe she didn't use the right terminology because she is upset and there's something going on. I cannot forecast her. However, there is something to the point that there are black men who do generalize single black mothers in the lens that Jason Whitlock did. It doesn't mean that you hold on. It might be a cop-out. You can feel how you feel, but it's the truth. Because if we did a poll, even on Twitter, or pulled up information on just Googling, you will see that there are comments all over throughout YouTube, on Twitter, of black men who use the manosphere, who also have the same anger in them that the women in Cynthia G's post use against black men. They use it against black women, and thus this cycle of degeneracy that we have. You can call it a cop-out, you can call it some sucker shit, but it is a pain point that some of us who have love for our men and our women can recognize. That's why there are problems with people like Cynthia G, problems with the way that Kevin Samuels used his space, and why people were making comments to say, listen, I'm not included in the healing process, but I sure am included in the destruction of language that you're using. So again, it might not feel good when it comes back to get you, and you might not want to hear it, but it's something that is damn sure should be respected to talk about, because in the lens of a black man who keeps calling black women feminist, that means that the world is saying that we can't even talk to our black men, because if I told my black man that there are problems that I deal with, issues that I'm concerned with my own self, he ain't even going to acknowledge it.
Okay, Rella. Now let's go right here as well. Hold on. Let's go here as well. Let me talk, because now we can go all over YouTube, we can go over Facebook, we can go over Instagram, and we have black women saying as many nasty, derogatory things about black men as well. So let's be honest. Okay, there's no shortage of. No, let me finish, because I didn't interrupt you, Rella. There's no shortage of nasty comments about black men coming from black women as well. Do I say all black women think that way? No. And even with the conversation tonight that was directed at Jason Whitlock, I did try to go ahead and steer that to another direction. You know, I said, well, let's not go there and this and that or whatever. Yet we still went there. You know, I don't blame every black woman for another black woman. Okay. I don't sit up here and say all black women do is sit up in the projects and have kids from numerous baby daddies and all that other kind of stuff, because that's not true. You may have some that do that, but the vast majority of them not doing that. So I don't sit up here and play those little, you know, the little, I'm gonna generalize every single solitary black woman because somebody on a YouTube video or something says something about black women. And yes, black women themselves also will sit up here and tell you that there are feminists. A lot of black women will tell you that, yeah, in the late 1960s, that you had a lot of black women that went ahead and adopted a feminist mindset. I've heard plenty of black women that's pro-black, that bleed black like anybody else, will sit up here and tell you that. And that's not a knock on it or whatever. That's the truth. You have plenty of black women that adopted a feminist mind, and it's not every time that you get in an argument or you don't want to hear something from a black woman, oh, you just acting like a feminist. You just trying to be white. Plenty of times we don't say that. So, like I said, I did try to steer the conversation somewhere because I knew it was going somewhere. To me, the conversation was about Jason Whitlock, and he made a comment that was just beyond ridiculous, and he needed to be held accountable for it. His employer should actually suspend him for what he said, but they're not going to do that because, like I say, Jason Whitlock has been the mouthpiece of white supremacy for a long time. And that's why he's allowed to get away. And that's why he was on Tucker Carlson's station of all Fox News with Tucker Carlson of all people sitting up here saying that nonsense, because he didn't say that this, you know, you talk about Kevin Samuels all you want to. And I was not a Kevin Samuels fan, and I probably haven't heard more than 3 of his videos. Kevin Samuels' fan base was not white, but I guarantee you, when Jason Whitlock was on that Fox News with Tucker Carlson, I guarantee you the vast majority of those people that was listening to that actual interview with him and with Jason Whitlock and Tucker Carlson, I guarantee the vast majority of those people was white. And that's who his message was sent out to. Yeah, she ain't nothing but, yeah. You see that little nigga that got killed by them other niggas? Yeah, well, if his black mammy had been there, and had they not had his black mammy out there being a police chief, had they had a man out there, that wouldn't have happened. That was a message that he was trying to let everybody in America know. First off, that black men are incapable of running anything, and you see that we such thugs that even people in badges that look like us had to go ahead and kill us. And not only that, don't put these black women in charge of anything because a black woman ain't fit to run shit. That's what he was saying. Black Pressure, I think you had your hand up. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Nah, let Black Native cook. I'll come after her.
If you gonna talk.
Well, thank you, Black Pressure. I asked the question. It's not just Jason Whitlock or Kevin Samuels. You know, he's long gone. I never listened to the man. But you got Charles Barkley, you got Shaq, Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp, the other African dude, like I said, the Nigerian, that's up here speaking for Black Americans, and he's a coon. Why do you think all of these coons are like the mouthpiece for sports, which are predominantly Black men? When are the men in these, like, because if without basketball and without football, there's no ESPN unless they just go and focus on baseball and hockey and soccer. But that, you know, basically they mainly talk about sports dominated by Black men, and you got the coons sitting in there, and the alpha males are not doing anything about it. And so they just, this guy, I knew about Jason Whitlock probably about 12 years ago. He was problematic then. And then he had said something. What did he say? Was this something about the Jewish community that he got kicked off of ESPN and then he started his own podcast? He got fired. And I believe it was speaking about the Jewish community. That one time they let him go, but he'd been doing cool shit, like you said, majority or mostly all black men, just like Stephen A. Smith. So I want to know, like, how long is this? We just been letting these people run rampant in our communities as a mouthpiece, as a representation. Now he's on Fox News, which we all know is predominantly white Republicans and racists who watch that network speaking some dumb shit about black women. And I mean, and then he'll just go his little fat jolly on his way and then sit in his podcast and have black men come up there and he'll interview them. So I mean, enough is enough. And I believe, like, Trouble, I don't think she came up, something happened, her nephew was, hurt and murdered, and I didn't really want to get it. But she's hurting. But a lot of things that she said is how she felt. And as black women, if we're telling you these things, we shouldn't be shut down. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, we will never be able to heal as a community if we, every time, we say something that maybe somebody else don't like, we get, I know that wasn't really the subject, but then again it was, because he was speaking about black women, and maybe she went somewhere with it, but that's how she felt. And we should be able to have these conversations without it getting blown out of proportion or flared up. And I'll land.
Okay, Black Native sister, I respect you, but I'm gonna have to agree to disagree. I did not shut her down. I let Trouble talk. Trouble, she gave her opinion, and this is a thing now. Trouble gave her opinion how she felt tonight as a black woman in America, and I gave you my opinion how I felt as a black man in America. I was more than cordial to Trouble. Now I know a lot of black women in here may not have agreed with me saying, hey, let's try to go ahead and not go there, this or that or whatever. And enough said, I do respect Trouble, and no hard feelings. I'm hoping that there's no hard feelings on her part. There's none on my part. I know she's going through a tragedy with her family as well too. So I did think about that afterwards, but I was not disrespectful to Trouble. I talked to Trouble. I held a conversation with her the same way she held it with me. I'm sure just the way you sisters didn't feel like you don't want to be shut down and not to be ignored. I'm sure there's a lot of brothers in this space that feel the same way. They felt that, hey, Toto was more than, he was reasonable. He wasn't rude. He gave her a chance to talk and he simply responded. Now we go on this topic tonight, because I know a lot of sisters kind of maybe upset or whatever, but we're going to agree to disagree on this here. And I'm just being real with all y'all up in here. I did not disrespect Trouble. And trust me, I don't know what it's like to be a black woman. I don't know all of the stuff y'all go through. You have to go to white supremacy. You have to deal with us as black men and stuff like that as well too. So I tip my hat to you guys. I really do. But at the same token, y'all don't know what it's like to be a black man as well either. We have the biggest target of us on anybody in this country and in this world. So I'm just being real with you. I did not mean to be disrespectful to her. I let Trouble talk. I tried to go ahead. I tried to steer the conversation because I knew the conversation, because I can even hear black pressure. I knew the conversation was kind of going, and it's not because, hey, you want to shut us down and you don't want us to say this and that. Sister, you said what you wanted to say. I let you go ahead and say. I didn't say, well, Trouble, I'm going to mute your mic, or Trouble, I'm going to knock you down a listener, or every time you talk, I kept muting the mic, anything like that. No, after Trouble got through talking, I would simply get up there and I would give my opinion. And I'm going to tell everybody up in the space tonight, because there is a little hotness in me as well, too. I'm going to constantly give my opinion in this space as well, too. I'm just letting everybody know, just so we can be on one accord, y'all. I'm going to give my opinion tonight. Damn if I do, damn if I don't. And that's just how it is, straight up. Now, I'm not even sure who's next. Professor, I'll let you go ahead and come up here next. Go ahead, Professor.
Okay. Family, this is why I said earlier, and of course I was joking, but I also meant it. This is why I was saying take some time and count to 10. And I do that for a reason because I know with some topics it can kind of go way to the left, which is what this has done. The topic was about Jason Whitlock and what he said, which we know he's been saying controversial things for years. I've been watching the guy for years, and he likes to say off cold statements. It's what he does. And he does it as a way to keep himself relevant. He does it as a way to make sure that the bosses there at Fox Sports or even at ESPN keep him right there where he is, so he can stay at the top of the list. Okay, he's doing this as a way for survival. That's what he does. We all know that he's cooning. He's been cooning off of saying controversial things about black men for years. He took a shot, of course, now at black women on Fox News with Tucker Carlson. We know Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist. I'm going to tell y'all what this is about. They used Jason Whitlock tonight as a way to attack a black woman that is the police chief. There it is. Because they want that black police chief out of that position. Bottom line, y'all. There it is right there. I think now we can move on from this topic. I love all of you.
No, I just have one thing to say.
Hold on. Let me finish. I was just saying, for figuratively speaking, we can kind of maybe move past this. It's gotten way too left. We was having a positive space, and then this came in and kind of interrupted it. And I love Trouble. Trouble, I love you, sister. I'm praying for you. And I know you want to get something out. And at the same time, y'all, sometimes with some of the stuff, we might need to take it to another space. You know what I'm saying? Like we move it to another space, like DJ space. You know what I'm saying? We move to that space. But this space here, this was just about Jason Whitlock and what he said. I don't know why it got into the whole men versus women thing. It just shouldn't have went that way, And so, sisters, we love you up in here. Well, I love you. Sister Willa, Black Native, Disruption, No Taxation, Baby Sister, all the sisters up in here. I care about you. I love you. I definitely want to hear everything y'all have to say. I try to make sure I listen to all of you because all of you are very intelligent women. Y'all bring fire and desire to these spaces. And so, but I'm not going to apologize for all black men, okay? But
desire. Did you say fire and desire?
Yeah, I was almost started singing.
Yeah, fire and desire. But anyway, I'm just saying, y'all, now it's time for us to move on to something else. Newstoter.
Can I just say one thing?
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. We love black men. But sometimes it went to back and forth for me unnecessarily. I think she was just trying to express how she feels, but she wasn't comparing y'all to anything like Jason Whitlock or shutting us down. And Tyler, we know you have been just them all the time. We just saying, can we just plan a space where we can, our feeling might be different from yours, but like you said, you don't know how it feels to be a black woman. And he did plummet on us. So it might not be about her nephew. He plummeted on us on national TV, cooning for white people, like a lot of other white people do on a daily basis. We get it from all ends. Being a single parent is not easy, and we do the best we can, and we don't put ourselves in that position alone. So that's all I'm saying. We just need to have a different space. But I love all y'all.
All right. Appreciate that, Tammy. Let me go ahead. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
So I just want to say this. I'm going to push back on what you said. I don't think it's that we don't know what black men go through because we hear it all the time, especially a mother who has 2 black sons and my father, and I have 6 uncles. Yeah, nah. I'm not going to listen to nobody tell me I don't know what a black man go through. I can't tell a black man how he feels. Now that's different because black men experience the impact of trauma totally different than we do. And that's a fact. But I will never let somebody tell me or try to create that divide that we don't know what black men go through. Our family been standing in the trenches with each other since the eons of time. And I don't think it's that black men don't know what we go through, because you literally just ran down the line that you recognize that black women who live in projects or wherever they come from, if they are single mothers, are not all just single mothers out there doing all willy-nilly things. So that's another misnomer. And I have to bring that to your attention, because just like you going to say it with your chest, you got people in here that's going to say it with their chest. That's how we are all built. We didn't by happenstance just find each other and be in a space with each other. I honestly believe that we do have the sauce to have the conversation, and not to steer it away from Jason Whitlock. It's to recognize that Jason Whitlock, he's who he is, and that he is trash, and that he literally used the same talking point that people have a problem with, specifically black women, mothers who do right by their kids, who are single mothers possibly, but not by their own happenstance, like Miss Tammy said, but they are doing right by their children. Not everybody is all bad. So I think we can have that discussion, and we can have it in a healthy way. And it don't have to be no sucker shit. That was kind of a play on what Black Pressure said. But anyway, I'm just saying, I know that you guys can acknowledge that in us, and I think that's what we were trying to express, or at least that's what I heard from Trouble, trying to express to you all, that there are men out there that would ignore black women's issues and use the term feminist to literally shut them down. And that is a thing that does happen. And I'll end there.
Okay, and Rella, I'm gonna say this again, and I mean no disrespect, but I don't know what it's like to be a black woman. I had my mother's past. I got a sister. I had grandma. I got niece. Got a bunch of cousins and aunts and stuff like that. And yeah, they talk to us and this and that or whatever. They share their days. They let us know exactly what it's like. But I don't know what it's like to be a black woman. I don't. I don't know what it's like to be a woman. Period. And nobody in this space, unless you're a black man, doesn't know what it's like to be a black man. That's my personal opinion. That's what it is. It's not a fact, but it's my personal opinion. No woman in this space knows what it's like to be a black man. And I'm going to stand 10 toes down on that. Real talk.
Yeah, he knows Bell Hooks did.
Toni Morrison did.
Black Pressure, you got it. Go ahead.
So I'm gonna say this, News. You're a good guy, because me myself personally, I wouldn't apologize for anything. I said, let me say this on tonight. Let me say this, but I'll say this too. If you listen to Rilla, you listen to Black Native, they told the absolute truth about a healing process, and it shouldn't be uncomfortable to have a conversation with your man about issues. May it be personal issues or issues about the community or whatever, they're all intertwined anyway. But then, if you flip that same coin, for you to acknowledge, for you to start the healing process, you have to first acknowledge there's a problem, and you have to be critical of it. The minute that black men stood to be critical of whatever behavior, you heard what it was how we were wrong. And how we didn't understand what Trouble said, and you didn't hear what you heard. Everybody turned into Confucius when it came to deciphering what Trouble said. I'm gonna say this: I really did. I had forgotten about the sister, and she lost a family member. I had forgotten about that because I was in the space in and out the other night, and I had forgotten about that. But I'll give you a personal testimony. If I lost somebody in my family tragically, guess what I wouldn't say? Then let me tell you about these black bitches. Let me tell you about these hoes. Let me tell you about these baby moms. I would never let that come out of my mouth. That's no excuse to ambush black men like that. And like I said, as soon as you, I, And whoever else said, man, she said this. Oh, no, that's not what she said. You have to understand thermonuclear dynamics to understand what she was trying to say. That's not fair. And like I said, that I'm not apologizing. That was ambush tactics, and that was unfair. And I'll land my plane there.
Black Native, go ahead. We ain't gonna keep this space open too much longer because it really ain't no point, really, to be honest.
Right. Black person, you know you doing too much. Ain't nobody say it was E squared minus 2 to the MC squared.
You like that, huh?
No, he said black. Nuclear dynamics.
Nuclear dynamics, right?
I know you like it. You like it.
But what I heard is that she said in the comments of Jason Whitlock, it was a lot of black men that were co-signing. In the comments.
And she said we gave him fuel for his narrative. We the ones that were saying.
She's here now. She can speak for herself. So I'll go ahead and land. Newstoter, I love you. No hard feelings, but we definitely need to be honest with each other. And we can have this discussion because I think it needs to be had because you can honestly hear that black women have a point of view and black men have a point of view. And it doesn't have to be argumentative. We can have a decent conversation. Y'all have a good night. I'm going to go ahead and listen to Trouble. Good night, y'all.
All right, good night. Trouble, go ahead and unmute your mic. Yeah, you there, Trouble?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was pulling up in my yard. So let me start off by saying I'm not getting ready to apologize for anything that I said, but I will go ahead and address the comments. It wasn't ambush tactics, and I don't appreciate it being formed as ambush tactics. I said what I said. It had nothing to do with not understanding. It had nothing to do with not understanding what black men go through, and I don't know how we're centering the conversation around what it's like to be a black man. I don't know what it's like to be a black man, though I'm raising 4 of them. I don't know what it's like to be a black man, and that wasn't the conversation. So how did we go there? Where you all want to say that the conversation went left somewhere that it shouldn't have been. I was speaking on Jason Whitlock. And in speaking on Jason Whitlock, what I was saying was his sentiments that he displayed was not something that was uncommon to me as a black woman, because I'm constantly hearing the same comments from my brothers in social media and even in the comments addressing his comments, that he was right in what he was saying. It wasn't an attack on black men. It was just putting out the fact that his comments wasn't a singular thought. It was a thought process that's been had by many men. I'm the type of sister that go hard in the motherfucking paint for my goddamn brothers. I champion my brothers in y'all mental state of mind and other motherfuckers doing y'all wrong. I fight for y'all any goddamn time I can, but if we can't have an honest conversation, then that's part of the goddamn problem. I do not appreciate my words being twisted and somebody trying to make it seem like I was coming for black men. No, I'm sorry, my brothers, but sometimes y'all don't want to hear what's real. And instead of y'all hearing what it was exactly that I was saying, somebody else, Newstoter, I love you, brother, but you twisted this on, well, there's black women in the media who does the same. Fuck them too. Fuck them for being the ones that have to bring that conversation to the forefront and always downplaying our brothers like these other motherfuckers are doing. I'm not saying that these women aren't doing it too. They part of the goddamn problem too. But when you hear what I'm saying and then you turn around and say, well, look at these black women and they talking shit about black men, that's what took the conversation left. That's what took the conversation to a place that y'all are saying it should not have went to. But you want to make it seem like I was the one who took the conversation there, and let's be clear. This has
But you did.
But I did.
Let her finish. Let her finish. Black pressure.
I did what in your mind because you don't want to recognize what I was saying as the truth as a black woman from what I see from my brothers sometimes, and it's not all brothers. It's some. So if it don't apply, goddamn it, let it fly.
was about Jason Whitlock. Where did the pivot happen? Because news didn't say it. I didn't say it. Where did the pivot happen? I heard exactly what you said. That's why you're getting this response.
What you heard was what you wanted to fucking hear.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's about algebra now, okay.
Yeah, it's about algebra, biology, and all of that shit. It's about geometry and metrics, too. But you heard what you wanted to hear. Even now, I'm saying what it is that I'm saying, and you're still trying to make it into something different. And
that's called game. That's called game.
No, it's called people want you to always be nice and kind about the wonderful and beautiful things that Black man is and what they're doing, and we don't want to get into the nitty-gritty and into the goddamn paint about the other side of it. That's what it is. We want the niceties, but we don't want the reality.
Trouble. I can play a recording of you.
Play the recording.
You up.
Play it.
When DJ brought up Kevin Samuel and you cried, kicked, and screamed.
You can do whatever it is you want to do with. And at the same time, this is not. Go ahead and get the food. I was gonna bring the food in the house, boy. Well, I know you can't wait, but go on. Come on.
All right, family. Good night, y'all. I'll talk to you later. Newstoter, DJ Ray.
Yeah, let me. I'm gonna go ahead and because you know.
I'm through. I'm done. But somebody had addressed something else. He said that maybe it was about my nephew. It was not about my nephew. My nephew was murdered at the hand of two men. He wasn't murdered at the hand of anybody but two degenerate ass men who didn't have nothing better to goddamn do. It was a setup. They set him up. And yeah, it was over a woman, but they set him up nonetheless. They shot him, they beat him up, they took a picture to his mom and said, come get your fam. And then they staged the car wreck. But it didn't have anything to do with any of that. I can walk and chew gum at the same time. It has nothing to do with my nephew.
All right. Well, Trouble, you know what I'm saying? I respect your opinion. And if you heard me read the actual article about Jason Whitlock and then do commentary after, not at one time did I defend anything Jason Whitlock said. Matter of fact, I went on Jason Whitlock. We can replay this space. At no time did I sit up here and give Jason Whitlock props and say I agreed with him. I talked about him the way that he talked about this black female police chief as well. So, we're going to agree to disagree. I didn't stop anybody from speaking in this space. The same way like you real and you stick your chest out and everything else, I'm the same way too. I will let people get up here and talk. I'm not apologizing for anything tonight. I gave everybody that came up here that wanted to talk, they got a chance to talk. I'm not going to take anything back. I know just like we can have these real conversations about black men, we can have them about black people in general, and that includes black women as well too. So not to get in the pissing match tonight, I'm going to just go ahead and shut the space down because I know everybody's a little bit hot, and I know I'm still a little bit hot too as well myself too. So let me go ahead and just say good night to everybody. Y'all have a good one, and we will see y'all on Thursday.